Drifting was once discovered through motorsports, honed in by enthusiasts on mountain roads, has been commercialized into an international sport. Similarly, drifting once inspired a boy to take on a new racing hobby, eventually making him, too, an enthusiast of the Touge. There are very few places you'd expect speedrunning to be present in Minecraft, besides the popular categories like beating the game and intoxicating yourself. Well, the one you've stumbled across is that of iceboat racing, the perfect minigame to capture the real-life thrill of motorsports, using nothing but a boat sliding on ice. Here at Mount Akina, a boat racing map I made about a year ago, aimed to capture the street racing environment of the initial League anime, we've got one hell of a racing scene cropping up. The goal is to get from point A to point B as fast as you can. Within the past year, Akina has hosted countless 1v1s to trade racers' pride, but most interestingly, created a speedrunning scene quite unlike any other. Today, we delve into the world record history of Mount Akina. Chapter 1: Discovering New Lines. The story starts off with the Friendly Foe, an up-and-comer who you can see in the first gameplay demo of Akina. Friendly will be one of the first to set a world record run, right as the map was released on April 12th, and clocks in a modest time of 4 minutes and 2 seconds. Although, he takes quite a basic vanilla line, and with a few blunders like throttle lifting and deep angles, you can see there's lots of room for improvement. That's where only 2 days later, the Mario Kart Wii speedrunner by the name Purple Toki cleans up Friendly's mistakes with the first ever sub 4 minute run. With better commitment to the entries of the turns and only lifting off the throttle on 2 occasions, Toki sets the bar much higher with a time of 3 minutes and 58 seconds. You can see in Toki's run, he goes a little bit wide on the hairpin at 2 minutes 5, at 3 minutes 22, he gets a bad ice line on the straight, and unfortunately he's still lifting at 3 minutes 58. But being the first sub 4 minute time marked quite a milestone. At the time, even our best racers were only managing above 4 minutes. For instance, Red Matter 4 minutes 5 seconds on May 5th, I pull off a 4 minute 4 second run on April 19th, and Sam H3X's run a 4 minute flat. However, Toki's 3 minute 58 is only the tip of the iceberg. Meet Mr. Green Jeans. Or rather, this Mr. Green Jeans. A laid-back iceboat racer who showed potential in his initial runs of Mount Akina. A guy who once joined the racing scene, and initially, we thought he was tassel. Although Green Jeans would show concern over how easy a record would be to pull off. On May 18th, he would go on to string this together. A new record, 3 minutes, 57 seconds. Beating Purple Toki by an entire second. As seen at the 3 minute 10 mark of the video, the run features a new technique now coined as a block stop. As it says in the name, you aim a little bit towards the grass to slow down your boat and line yourself up for the next turn. Not just that, but at the 3 minute 31 mark of the video, you can see just how much more blue ice he slides over, which is notoriously more slippery than regular ice, and as such, faster for boats. Purple Toki, now in defeat, would post the first boat racing comparison video, showcasing his recent attempt to reclaim the record from Green Jeans. At the 1 minute mark, you can see Toki is leading the run so far. However, it becomes apparent later on just how cleaner Green's lines were through the map, notably at the first hairpin, and later, at the block stop technique, Green gets a better setup into the next turn, inching out Toki right until the finish line. Although Purple Toki faced defeat thus far on Akina, the fight was not over yet. For the next few days, he would refine his craft to catch up to Green Jeans, and so on May 24th, he was right at his pace. Toki had posted a time identical to Green's record, 3 minutes, 57 seconds. At this point, it was becoming clear that the timer on Akina was simply not accurate enough to discern the fastest racers. Due to the system being based on in-game command blocks, they couldn't read much less than a tenth of a second of difference in time. God, we're already tracking milliseconds. As you wish, as the only player who will benefit from it is me. What the fuck? Despite this, Toki was able to identify that he was merely 1/10 of a second off from Green Jeans. With a burning desire inside this turtle to take back the world record, he trained for the next few weeks, searching for the next second time save. Meanwhile, grinding was clearly not an issue for a newcomer by the name Iondus who found a ballistic time save on Akina. Holy shit! A legendary 20-second run. He's having a fun time in the Akina gulag. But back to real racing techniques. Chapter 2, The Tapping Turtle. Purple Touge had two options to outpace Green Jeans, either refine his line to go faster, or look outside the box. Yeah, I'll give you a hint, Touge hates boxes, but perhaps the walls are the key to the problem. On June 14th, 2021, Purple Touge got this run. Unlike any other technique seen before, Touge was the first to pull off a wall tap on Mount Akina. When boats collide with other bodies in Minecraft, it's a prime textbook example of inelastic collisions. Tracking your speed into and out of a wall along the line of impact, also known as the normal direction, the collision is perfectly inelastic, meaning that all your speed into the wall is lost. However, you're not stopped from instantly accelerating out of the wall right after, as seen by this example with Boat HUD, a mod that lets you see extra data about your boat. You can see here how the G meter, although it spikes to -12 when you're slowing down, goes instantly back to 0.3, which is about the average acceleration in boats. On the other hand, if you track your speed from side to side through the turn, also known as along the tangential direction, all of your speed is conserved. On a tight course like Akina, the guardrails are close enough that going the extra distance deep into the turn makes it completely worth your time to bounce back out with normal speed. Although, aiming for a gap like this one is much easier said than done. With that maneuver, Touge completed a world record run of 3 minutes and 56 seconds, forever changing the speedrunning strategy of Akina. Wait, dude, this guy listens to the vanilla OST while he races? Unfortunately for Touge, his celebrations would only be short-lived. For the same past few weeks, Mr. Green Jeans was also grinding Akina runs, and within the span of a few hours after Touge posted his new wall tap, Green Jeans had yet another trick up his sleeves. Or should I say his jeans? Green's new run was clearly better than Touge's, because right off the bat into the first hairpin, he did this. Green found another wall tap on Akina at the first hairpin. Not just that, but he even managed to pull off Touge's wall tap at the third hairpin. Although the in-game timer indicated 3 minutes and 53 seconds, it wasn't quite that. Green was correct to say that the in-game timer was likely lagging due to chunk loading problems, and the real time measured according to the video is actually 3 minutes, 56 seconds, and 0.4 of a second. A fantastic run, outpacing Purple Touge, and giving back the world record to Green. Upon asking how closely the two were in communication leading up to their runs that day, both said it was radio silence. What made Green's run impressive is that he pulled off a same-day delivery on not only discovering the viability of wall taps, but executing Touge's wall tap and further discovering a new one. It truly demonstrates his adaptability to learn and execute new lines as they arise. Touge's usually quite reserved, a quiet guy, although what Green did that day pissed him off. From here on out, despite Touge's best efforts, he could not reach Green's consistency. It'll be a while until any new records are set, but it's still worth mentioning the new record set on Mount Akina Bedrock Edition by S Storm, managing a time of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. What made this run impressive was arguably harder bedrock boat physics. Not only are they grippier and faster, but they lock in your angular velocity when falling, meaning there's absolutely no control over your boat mid-air. Definitely not as smooth as Java Edition boat physics. And yeah, that's basically where the bedrock record history ends, at 1 record. Ayo, so future Adam here. Some Chinese guy on Bilibili popped off, upgrading the Bedrock Akina timer and slammed the previous record to 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Now, although it is faster than the Java record, it is worth saying that this version of Minecraft was made to be played on your mom's iPhone. But if you are on limited hardware, I'll link the run down below so you can go check it out. Alright, let's get back to the real Minecraft now. Chapter 3, Tracking Time. One day, as I was farting around in BeamNG Drive, I hopped on their Discord looking for people to collaboratively fart around with one random encounter to the next with shirtless dudes arguing about muscle cars, I came across someone by the name Snavesatit. After a bit of conversation, I found out he was actually into Minecraft as well, and as always, I usually get pretty excited when I find other people who are both car enthusiasts and play Minecraft. I bring up conversation with him over the maps I've made, mentioning some of the problems we've had encountered with timing systems. And one thing to the next, Snave offered to develop us a new timing system using data packs. This was quite an act of kindness, as something like a data pack timer could be much more accurate than the one we currently have on Akina. For those of you who don't know, the benefit of using a data pack is that they're embedded inside the world files, meaning that you can use them both in single-player worlds and online. Using the movement of world borders and other black magic, this new timing system was accurate down to a 500th of a second. Miles better than anything we had used before. On July 30th, Mount Akina version 2 with a new timer was ready for release. And you can bet with the new timer, there was a renewed interest in speedrunning it. Although it brought a few newcomers attempting runs, it would only be Green Jeans who could strike back at his own record. After about a month, on August the 25th, Green Jeans released a new run. Besides the impeccable selection of accompanying Eurobeat, things looked pretty normal, until you reach the 6 consecutive hairpins. Although the geometry is a little bit sketchy here on entry, Green managed to pull off a 3rd Akina wall tap, and he wasn't done yet. Following a clean line up to the final turn, he puts the cherry on top with a 4th wall tap at the final edge of the guardrail. Thanks to Snave's timer, Green accurately landed a time of 3 minutes, 54 seconds, and 65 hundredths of a second. Not only was this run revolutionary due to the 3rd and 4th wall tap, but it was so well executed that it would leave practically everyone scratching their heads for the next months to find any way to improve it. That is, until December, just in time for a little holiday magic. Chapter 4, Era of the Sloth. For those of you unfamiliar with the Laser Sloth, he's one of the experts who has helped create many of our Formula 1 style tracks. Not only does he build, but he's also not quite as slow of a racer as his name would suggest. Ever since his debut during the summer, Laser had built a name for being precise and dedicated to learning the fastest lines on any track he comes across. After winning the 2021 Formula Craft 1 Championship, he was left with plenty of free time around the holidays to take a crack at Mount Akina time trialing. And on Christmas Day, Laser gifted us this run. A major flaw in Green Jeans' 54.65 record was the first hairpin wall tap. Because of the grass located under the guardrail, his exit speed is rather slow, a little bit off the mark from the regular 1G you should be pulling out of the wall. Laser identified this, and after experimenting with new lines, he discovered that instead of performing a wall tap with iron bars, he could actually aim a little bit to the left and wall tap this grass block. Doing so gave him a smoother exit from the wall, inching out Green Jeans by 3 blocks, or a little less than 1/10 of a second. For the rest of the run, Laser had just enough pace to hold his advantage, lending him a time of 3 minutes and 54.5 seconds. A time like this, a 54.50, was quite an achievement for a map like Akina, which has already had so many time saves happening left, right, center. But the holidays weren't just over yet. For the next few days, Laser would continue grinding Akina world records, refining his technique just to secure his spot as the fastest racer. His exercise routine was as follows. Day 1, dethrones Green Jeans with a 54.50. Day 2, the Sloth sleeps. Day 3, grinds from a 54.50 to a 54.30, saving 2/10. Day 4, grinds from a 54.30 to a 54.30 with a little bit of confidence. Day 5, grinds from a 54.30 to a 54.25. Day 6, the Sloth sleeps. Day 7, the Sloth sleeps more. Day 8, the start of a new year. The Sloth unleashes his wrath and grinds from a 54.25 to a 54 flat. Laser reduced the world record a total of 4 times in the span of 8 days. As quoted from Laser, he says a big part about getting these times were overcoming his nerves. Just like anyone else, he too can sometimes fall off his rhythm. Fighting the pressure to keep control of his boat is one of the largest parts of the struggle to get a world record time like this. It all paid off because by the final run, the level of refinement in his line was phenomenal, and he had truly mastered each one of the 4 wall taps. His objective turned from not only securing a long-lasting record, but bringing it down below the 54-second mark. Despite his hard work and impressive feats, the ultimate goal would rest in his dreams, unfortunately out of reach. But Laser was on the throne. One would expect him to chill in this kind of position, although he knew this was merely quietness before the storm. That quietness would come to an end when the man with Green Jeans came back from vacation. Now, if there's one thing you would have learned by now, is that Green Jeans is a master of adapting to new lines and surpassing them. In his wise words, you must challenge the power of ice boating.
Hello. Sorry if you're in a run. Yo, how's it going? Pretty okay. Finally got back home. Just in time for school to start. How about you? Ah, lol. I mean, just like Akina. XD. 401 lol. I'm shrouded in rust. I can't say I did much better on my first run back on Akina. It's been a hot second one.
And on January 12th, 2022, Green went ballistic, challenging times beyond what we ever thought was possible. This was the first ever sub 54. A brilliant run. Every single line was somehow refined beyond laser to absolute perfection. Green got a time of 3 minutes, 53 seconds, and 95 hundredths of a second. After witnessing the slap of the gods, Sloth was to graciously edit the comparison video of the run, since Green had exams the next day. Although right after the video published, Green ascended beyond the washing machine. Three minutes, 53 seconds, and 75 hundredths of a second, saving 2/10 of a second from his previous run. I mean, at this point, what even is time? Being the good sport he is, Laser finally admits defeat. Perhaps as a result of the grueling effort, even for someone like Green Jeans, he vows to never run Akina again. Never again would he put himself through this kind of pressure. Purple Touge, on the other hand, is intrigued by the new lines and puts in a few runs around early April. With all the hard bass and vodka, he too reaches a peak, but surprisingly, above Sloth. Touge actually takes on the challenge of a sub 54 second time and succeeds to land a 53.90. It's quite a shame that Laser never managed to get his record, and with the chapter ending like this, Green Jeans would sure look like the real champion. Or is he? Chapter 5. Camera Work. On September 19th, 2021, a fabric mod would be released on CurseForge, which would forever change the boat racing community. Boat Cam. A longtime problem with ice boat racing is the element of visibility, which is usually limited by your field of view. It becomes quite a problem when you're learning new tracks and putting in reverse entries, and you can't really see where you're going. This presents quite a learning curve to new players, although well-seasoned veterans of the sport would develop muscle instincts to move their mouse accordingly to face the direction of wherever they're headed. Boat Cam, on the other hand, removes this element of camera control and automatically faces the player in their direction of travel. For many, Boat Cam is praised as a must-have mod for beginners, but to others, it's a mockery of the skill required to do pure boat racing as Mojang intended it. It was a particularly interesting topic to bring up during the 2022 Mount Akina Summit, a private event hosted in June with the fastest of boat racers in the community. Only 2 out of the 6 members of the S-Tier Boat Club used Boat Cam, Makuzan and Renokas. And where it really showed during the tournament was their ability to learn Akina in just a few runs. It would be Makuzan who would go on to win the Summit tournament, and with that, gave him the drive to practice running for Akina world records. After the Summit event, Makuzan did several time trialing sessions across various days, and on June 17th, the Cookie Monster got this run. In the words of Makuzan, a big part of going fast is holding a solid line. What he means by this is holding a dead accuracy along the straights, never steering harder than you have to. This landed him a time of 53.70. His final message to Green Jeans: get Boat Cam. The message would go unread for a little while, but eventually Green would return from vacation yet again. Furious that Makuzan didn't use Eurobeat in his world record, he strikes back on July 14th, 2022, and like a never-ending boss fight, his Eurobeat escalates yet another note higher. This time around, to go faster, Green started using Boat HUD, which really let him see the minimal angle theory of Makuzan. After a confident head bob at the start of the run, you can notice he does a transition off to the left side of the track leading up to the first hairpin. This actually helps him build more tangential speed through the turn, allowing him to inch out Makuzen on the exit. Throughout the run, Green and Mach were continuously training the lead, and despite Green's efforts to apply the minimal angle theory, he would still take significantly deeper drift angles than Makuzen. Although Green's deeper, more aggressive angles don't bring him any advantage on regular turns, where it would come to shine is on the wall tap turns. If you look carefully, Green's deep angles actually benefits him greatly on the second wall tap at the 5th hairpin. Although Makuzen's smooth angles let him claw back the lead on the 6th hairpin. Following through the 6 consecutive hairpins, they keep things even Stevens. But look at that, folks. Green gets a better exit onto the final turn and takes a massive lunge into the final wall tap. Way better exit speeds than Makuzen, who trails behind Green Jeans by half a second right up to the finish line. 3 minutes, 53:25. Green did the unthinkable. Against all odds, the Farmer Boy Green Jeans finally reclaimed the world record. And that is where the Mount Akina world record history ends for now, as of September 23rd, 2022. I need to take a step back sometimes to just appreciate how pivotal this map was in the creation of my racing community last year. I was quite lost at the start of the year making videos about topics I didn't truly connect with, and doing something different like building a 1-to-1 scale, downhill racing map really helped me refine this sport into what I wanted from it. Some friendly competition. Just as the art of drifting was once born through a desire to go faster, honed in by enthusiasts, grown into a competitive sporting environment, so does it in the world of Minecraft.